Somewhere in America right now, there's a service record sitting in a filing cabinet that insurance actuaries actually use as a benchmark. 9 years of ownership, one SUV, total repair cost under $2,000. That number isn't a typo, and it isn't luck. It's what happens when 3 specific luxury SUVs get engineered the right way. And almost nobody outside a small circle of independent mechanics knows which 3. Here's what usually happens instead. A retired couple walks onto a lot looking for one thing, a car they never have to think about again, and the salesman points them toward a lease return with an extended warranty he's praying they'll buy. Meanwhile, the SUVs that actually deserve that trust sit in the back row, dusty, marked down twice because nobody under 50 wants to be seen driving them. Before we get into today's 3, there's a question worth asking. If your parent or you called a mechanic tonight and asked, "What's the one car you'd trust me not to get stranded in?" what would the honest answer be? Not the marketed answer, not the badge, the honest one. That answer sits at number 1 on this list, and it shares almost the exact same engineering philosophy as the pick right below it. 2 of these 3 SUVs were built by the same core idea. No turbo to fail, no direct injection to gum up, nothing clever enough to break. Today, we're ranking 3 luxury SUVs by the only thing that actually matters for a car you plan to keep for the next decade. Documented repair data, real ergonomics for aging joints and backs, and powertrains that were built to age well, not just look good on a test drive. Number 3 on this list will already put most SUVs on the market to shame, but stick around, because number 1 isn't just the safest bet here, it might be the safest bet in the entire luxury SUV segment. Before the rankings, 3 quick filters worth knowing because they explain every pick on this list. First, documented repair cost data, RepairPal and Consumer Reports numbers, not dealership talking points. Second, real ergonomics for aging drivers, seat height, door swing, sight lines, the details that matter more at 70 than they do at 30. Third, powertrain architecture that ages gracefully, naturally aspirated where possible, port injected, chain driven, nothing exotic under the hood. Keep that third filter in mind because 2 of today's 3 SUVs were built on almost the exact same philosophy, and that overlap is not a coincidence. Number 3, the Lexus RX 350, 3rd generation, built from 2010 to 2015. One ownership record reviewed for this piece tells the whole story. A 2013 RX 350 purchased in 2016 with 38,000 miles on the odometer. 9 years later, that same SUV sits at 142,000 miles. Total repair spent across 9 years of ownership, $1,890. That includes brakes, 2 batteries, and a window regulator, roughly $210 a year. No luxury SUV on the market touches that number. The engineering behind it is almost boringly simple, and that's the point. The 2G RFE, a 3.5-liter V6, naturally aspirated, port injected, running a timing chain instead of a belt. This engine lives across the Camry, the Highlander, the Sienna, and the Lexus ES. Millions of units on the road, with a documented history of crossing 300,000 miles on factory internals. It pairs with Toyota's U660 E6-speed automatic, an unglamorous, over-engineered transmission with owner-logged examples running past 400,000 miles. For an aging driver, the real advantage shows up the moment you open the door. Lexus calls it chair height seating, 21 inches off the ground, no climbing, no dropping, just sitting. Wide door swing, low sills, a flat floor, a telescoping and tilting wheel. Combine that with a ride tuned specifically for comfort, and you get a cabin quiet enough to hold a phone conversation at 70 miles an hour without raising your voice. The numbers back it up. RepairPal lists the RX 350's annual maintenance cost at roughly $570, with a major repair probability of just 9%. Less than half the luxury SUV segment average of 19%. Compare that to a same-year Audi Q5 in a similar price bracket, which is statistically likely to need a $2,800 timing chain tensioner job by 100,000 miles. If you're shopping for 4 things to check first: dashboard cracking on early 2010 to 2013 models in hot climates. Most have already been replaced under an extended warranty, but confirm it. A whining power steering motor, which runs about $700 to replace and doubles as solid negotiating leverage. Weak rear hatch struts around the 100,000 mile mark, an easy $80 fix. And the best tell of all, check the driver's seat bolster. Light wear usually means a single, careful owner. It's the gold standard by the numbers. So why isn't it the top pick? Because the next two SUVs on this list beat it on the one thing that matters most as the years go on. And one of them takes built to last to an almost absurd extreme. Drop a comment with your current SUV's mileage. It's worth seeing how these numbers compare to what people are actually driving. Number 2, the Acura RDX second generation, built from 2013 to 2018. A case documented by an independent repair shop tells this one well. A woman in her early 70s, recovering from knee replacement surgery, needed something easier to get in and out of than her aging Subaru Forester. Her family was steering her toward a brand new compact SUV. Instead, on a $16,000 budget, she ended up in a 2016 RDX with 64,000 miles for $15,400. All-wheel drive, leather, heated seats. 6 months later, at her first oil change, she reported that her knee hadn't hurt once getting in or out. The engine tells you why this SUV flies under the radar. The J35Y6, a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 with port injection. No turbo to fail early, no carbon buildup on the intake valves the way direct-injected competitors suffer. It's from the same engine family found in the Honda Pilot and Odyssey, both of which routinely cross 250,000 miles on nothing but fluids. It's mated to a traditional 6-speed automatic, not a CVT, not a dual clutch. A torque converter transmission Honda has refined since the early 2000s. For older drivers, the seat height sits at 23 inches, high enough that you're not climbing, low enough that you're not dropping. Doors open to nearly 80 degrees, giving anyone with a stiff hip or a bad back all the clearance they need. And a large greenhouse keeps visibility excellent in every direction. On cost, RepairPal puts the RDX's annual maintenance around $497 compared to over $1,000 for a same-year BMW X3, a gap that widens further once you factor in the X3's typical repair bills over its first 2 years of ownership. Before buying one, check 3 things. The power tailgate motor, which can weaken around 100,000 cycles and costs about $380 to fix. Another solid negotiating point. The VTEC system at idle. Any ticking that doesn't disappear after warm-up usually points to a previous owner running the oil low, and that's a walkaway sign. And the rear differential fluid on all-wheel drive models, Acura recommends changing it every 30,000 miles, and almost no one does, so budget around $150 if it looks overdue. Everything so far has been engineered around one idea: simplicity survives. Our number 1 pick takes that same philosophy and pushes it even further. Built not just to be reliable, but to be repairable anywhere in the world, with basic tools, no dealership required. Number 1, the Lexus GX 460, built from 2010 to 2019. The clearest case for this SUV comes from a retired engineer who, after being quoted over $4,000 for an air suspension repair on his previous luxury SUV, sold it the same afternoon and picked up a 2014 GX 460 with 91,000 miles for $24,500. That truck now sits at 168,000 miles. In the years since, it's needed a battery, brakes, tires, and one-wheel bearing, nothing else. The engine explains everything. The 1UR-FE, a 4.6-liter V8, naturally aspirated, combining port and direct injection to sidestep the carbon buildup problem that plagues most direct-injected engines on the market. No turbo, a timing chain instead of a belt. Toyota engineered this powertrain for global markets, including regions with no dealer network for 1,000 miles in any direction. Built to be serviced with hand tools if needed. It runs a 6-speed automatic Toyota, has barely changed in over 15 years because they got it right the first time, paired with full-time 4-wheel drive and a torsion center differential that never needs a second thought in any weather, on any surface. For an older driver, the GX asks for a slightly higher step-in than the other two, but Lexus built in a side step and an enormous door opening to compensate. Many owners actually find it easier to enter than a lower SUV, since you sit first and swing your legs in rather than folding down into the seat. 10-way power seats, both heated and ventilated, and a steering wheel that telescopes a full 4 inches mean the cabin adjusts to fit almost anyone, from a 5'2" grandmother to a 6'4" grandfather. RepairPal's overall score on the GX looks modest at first glance, but that number includes dealer rate labor across every complaint filed. It doesn't reflect frequency. Major repair probability sits at just 9%, half the luxury SUV segment average, with a real-world annual cost that independent shops consistently report closer to $400. Compare that to a same-year Mercedes GLE, likely to need $5,000 in repairs within 3 years. or a BMW X5, which depreciates faster and costs roughly 3 times as much to maintain over the same period. Before buying, check the rear air suspension. The GX uses a rear-only system that's generally reliable, but bags can develop slow leaks around 130,000 miles, and a replacement runs about $400 installed. Check the side-swinging rear door hinge, a $600 fix if it's sagging, and look underneath for any aftermarket lift kit or off-road wear, since these get taken rock crawling more often than you'd expect for a luxury SUV. One trade-off worth knowing: fuel economy sits around 17 miles per gallon, so a long daily commute will sting at the pump. If towing a boat or camper, handling snowy driveways, or simply wanting the lowest possible odds of ever being stranded roadside matters more than gas mileage, this is the one built for exactly that job. 3 SUVs, 3 different strengths. The RX 350 is the gold standard for comfort and rock-bottom running costs. The RDX is the budget pick that punches far above its price. And the GX 460 is the over-engineered tank built to outlast almost anything else on the road. Every one of these shares the same quiet advantage: no turbo waiting to fail, no direct injection carbon buildup, nothing clever enough to break down when it matters most. That's not an accident. That's what happens when a manufacturer prioritizes decades of ownership over one flashy test drive. Whichever one fits, get an independent pre-purchase inspection first and drive it for the next decade without a second thought. If this helped you find the right fit for yourself or someone in your family, drop a comment with which of these 3 you choose and subscribe for the next breakdown. The SUVs dealerships steer people away from, and why.